Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Eco, ma'am.
So in the previous class, we started this module, but only did what happened? Hello? Is there any problem?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Am I audible right now?
Ma'am, too much of echo, ma'am.
Now, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So we will continue this module today, and the access specifiers we have already completed in the previous class. So today we'll start with the this operator. Many a time you may be heard of this operator. In Java, this is a special operator which refers to the caller object when you use it inside any method. Like, you may see this example here. This is a class test this, where this is a constructor, and inside the constructor you can see the temporary variables which we are taking to transfer the values for the instance variables. You can see there is difference between this int AB and this int and int B. This int AB are actually the instance variables. So whenever you are creating any object of this test, this class, you are going to have copies of this A and B present over there. But here inside this constructor, int A and int B, what we are using, these are not exactly the same instance variables. These are basically the temporary variables or the local variables of this test, this method, which are used to transfer the values to this instance variables. Okay. So, normally, what happens here, when you write, say, instead of A and B, if you have int P and int Q, you can easily write A equal to P and B equal to Q to transfer the values. That will be sufficient. But if we have the same name of the instance variable name, the local variables are having the same name with the instance variable name, and using the same format, if you try to write A equal to A and B equal to B, then according to the locality of reference, which AB is more local here? Inside this test, this method, which AB will be more local? This instance variables or the temporary variables? What do you think? Which one will be the more local? Anyone? Which one is more local in this module? This instance variables or the temporary variables you are using to transfer the values? So do you think both are having the equal priority? Both are having equal priority? Do you think that? So in C also you have used something like this. So according to the locality of reference, which one is the local? X or A? Do you know the difference between local and global variable? No one is having any answer for this question. This is a very simple question.
X is a local variable.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So you people don't know which one is more local in C. This int X or int A. Which one is more nearer to this F1 function?
X.
X. Why? Because it is local. It is present inside F1. Here also the same rule will sustain. If you write here int A and int B, so these two ABs are basically more local than this AB. So if you directly refer A or B inside this method, so this A and B will refer to the local variables or which variables are the temporary, and you have taken the help of them to take the values for this A and B. So this A and B are more local to them. So if you write A equal to A and B equal to B, that will mean that inside this A, you are trying to put its own value. It will never hamper anything in the instance variable. So as you have another local variable with the same name, so the local variable will be having a feature like if you directly write the name, so that variable will be referred from here. So if you write A and B, that AB means this two AB. Okay? Now from inside this method, if you try to refer the instance variables, in that case you can use this dot A and this dot B. This dot means which object is calling this method. That object, the caller object, is referred by this. Okay, so this operator refers to the caller object of a method. So the caller object, as it is a constructor, so the caller object is the object which is being created here. So when you are creating any object like test this T1 equal to new test this 2 and 5, you are passing through this. So T1 is actually the caller for this test this, which is sending A equal to 2 and B equal to 5 here. Okay. So when you write here this dot A, so that means it will be the A of this T1. So where is the memory implication is done for T1 if you are creating any object T1. So it will be having two memory spaces for A and B, and this is basically the creation of the object which is referred by the T1 reference. So this is the memory implication of this object creation, and afterwards you are calling this test this, where through this A you are sending 2, through this B you are sending 5. So that A and B is being going to the instance variable A and instance variable B of the caller object. Who is the caller object? T1 is the caller object. So when you write this dot A, that actually means T1 dot A. That means this memory location is being referred here. Okay? So if you write this dot A equal to A, so here your A is 2, that 2 will be going to this location. Okay? And when you write this dot B equal to B, B means 5 here, so that 5 will be coming to this location. Okay? So this means the caller object. So this keyword refers to the current object in a method or constructor. This can be used to refer current class instance variable, invoke current class constructor, invoke current class method, return the current class object, pass an argument in the method call, pass an argument in the constructor call. So all these things could be done using this operator. So inside any method, if you write this, so that is being referring to the caller object, and that's it. Now in this program, after having this object created, now your A and B of this T1 object will be initialized with 2 and 5 with this constructor, and afterwards when you try to print data, have this print data, and that A value is being printed here, so you are going to get 2 as the output. Now method overloading. So when we started learning object-oriented programming, we have heard about the polymorphism. Polymorphism means same name but different purposes. So this method overloading is one way to have the implication of the polymorphism in Java. So what a method overloading is? In this case we say there may be multiple same named but different parametered methods present in a class or under the purview of a class. Under the purview of a class, we can have same named but with different parameter lists method present over there. Okay, so that feature we call, it is the method overloading. Same name but different signature. Now, what are the things that is referred inside the signature? Signature basically contains return type, name, and parameter list. In Java, along with this, some more things may be added, like the access specifiers. Access specifiers you can add, and after that the source keyword also could be added. So whatever it is, so this is the signature of a method. Now we say that the name of the methods are same, but they are having different signature. But remember one thing, if you change the return type for different methods, that will never be used as a method overloading. Okay, so changing the return type doesn't hamper anything. What will we change in the signature will be having the method overloading purpose done, that is the parameter list. So only change in the parameter list here for same named functions or same named methods will be incurred as method overloading. So what are the changes you can do? You can change the number of parameters. In some method you have passed one parameter, in some of the other same methods you are sending more than one method, more than one parameter. For example, say the name of the method is ABC, and this is one method, this is another method, this is another method. So basically the difference between these three methods are observed using the number of parameters. First one is not taking any parameters, second one is taking just a single parameter, third one is taking two parameters. So using this signature difference, you can have same ABC name for three methods. So this is one example of the method overloading. Another example is type of the parameters are different, maybe in this way. This way. So you can see all these three methods are taking just single parameters, but they have different types. One is taking integer, another is taking double, another is taking string. So by the type of the parameter also you can differentiate between the methods, same named methods. And the third one is the order of parameter, like now here is a single glitch, what I say, like there is implicit typecasting like C available in Java also. So if due to some implicit typecasting, one type of data could be converted into another kind of data, so in that case there may be a problem with this kind of order of the parameter change. Okay, so double data can be typecasted into int, but obviously int cannot be directly typecasted to double, so that thing is here. Okay, so this is one example of the order of parameter. You can see in both of the cases two parameters are taken. One of them is integer, another is double, but the order of the parameter is different. So using any of this or mixture of these three parameter list differences, you can have the difference between the overloaded method. Okay, so whenever you are going to call it somewhere inside the program, the compiler directly can know that which function you have called just seeing the parameter list. So, suppose you take the example of the first category. You have three methods like this, And when you call ABC with nothing, so obviously the first one will be called. When you send just a single integer value, so the second one will be called. When you send two integers, so the third one will be called. So that way the things will be going on. Okay. Now this method overloading is also known as compilation time polymorphism or static polymorphism. Why it is compilation time polymorphism? As because when the program is getting compiled, then and there the compiler is taking the decision that which call is referring to which method. Okay. So just seeing the parameter list, it is pre-decided that where the console is going to jump. So accordingly, your object code is going to be prepared. There are some other cases where it is not known that to which method the console will be jumping. So that is, those will be not in the category of the compilation time polymorphism. So polymorphism is same named method having different purposes. This is called method overloading, where the differences between the methods are being settled using the parameter list. Return type will not matter anything. If you have same parameter list, same name method with different return types, that will never judge it as the method overloading. Okay. So compiler will fetch some error that you have the exactly same method in your program that you cannot have. Okay. So return type doesn't matter anything. Now this is called compilation type polymorphism as because, this is very important, this is called compilation time polymorphism or static polymorphism as because when you are compiling the code according to the list of the argument that you have been sending, it is being settled that to which method your control is going to jump. So accordingly the object code will be prepared beforehand. Okay. The overloaded methods can be identified with the list of parameters. We have already completed this part. Being methods, constructors also can be overloaded. If a parameterized constructor is declared, then it is good practice to involve a non-parameterized constructor also. Why? Because when your user is using your program or your class, in that case, there may be a situation that the user has forgot to pass any parameter through the constructor. So in that case, it will be generating an error. To get rid of that problem, you can have a non-parameterized constructor also along with a parameterized constructor, so that if the user forgets to pass any value through the parameter, through the constructor, the initial values will be preset inside the instance variables. So it could be done using some non-parameterized constructor. But do not forget one thing. If you already have a parameterized constructor, the system will not going to provide you the default constructor, because if one constructor is already given, the system will not provide you with a default constructor. So just a single parameterized constructor or multiple parameterized constructor, if it is present in your program, and when you are creating the object, you forget to pass any value through the constructor part, so in that case it will fetch error that no non-parameterized constructor has been provided. Okay. So if you get rid of this error, you can have a safeguard by declaring a non-parameterized constructor also inside your code. So this is one example of method overloading, where you can see the constructor overloading is provided as well as the normal method overloading is provided. You can see here we have used the number of parameters is different. Just see the multiply method, 3 multiply method. The first multiply method is taking just a single double variable. The second multiply is taking just a single integer. The third multiply is not taking anything. So the number of parameters is used for the differentiation as well as the type of the parameter we are using for the differentiation purpose. Okay. So when they are being used over here, when you are calling it just by multiply and not passing anything, obviously it will reach up here and it will generate the answer accordingly. It will multiply the value of A and B. After that, if you give multiply and pass an integer, so it will come over here and it will give the answer like this. What value you are sending as an integer value, that value will also be multiplied with A and B. The same thing will happen for the double also. Whatever double value you are sending over here, so that double value is going to be multiplied over here. Now, this part is interesting. This is basically the constructor overloading. You can see we are having 1, 2, 3 different constructors. One is taking no parameter, that is, this is non-parameterized constructor. The later two are parameterized constructor, but taking different parameters. Okay, one is taking just a single integer, the other is taking 2 integers, and accordingly the values are passed to the instance variable. You can see in the first parameterized constructor, the same value is going to the instance variable. In the second case, 2 different values are going to 2 different instance variables. In the first case, that is in the non-parameterized constructor, A and B are initialized with 1. Okay? So, if the user forgets to pass any value through your constructor, so this constructor will be called. If the sender is sending just a single value, so this parameterized constructor will be called. If 2 values are sent, then this parameterized constructor will be called. Okay. So 3 constructors, that means this is an example of the constructor overloading. So at the execution you can see T1 object is created without sending any value. So the memory implication of T1 is going to be, for A it will save 1, for B also it will save 1. Now if you print the data, it will print it like A equal to 1 and B equal to 1, as we have the print data here in the same way. Next, T2 is being created, so T2 will be called. Here also we have the room for A and B. And 100 is being sent, so on both cases 100 will be initialized in 2 different positions. When you print the value, it will print it in this way. Next is you create T3. Here also you have 2 rooms for A and B. You send 2 and 5, so through the parameterized constructor 3, this 2 and 5 will be, 2 and 5 will be saved here. And when you are printing it, it will print like after that. For this T3, you are calling multiply. So it will come over here, multiply 2 and 5, so 10. So that 10 will be printed as answer. Next is for the same T3, you call the multiply with 100. That means here you are going to come. So 100 into 2 into 5, so answer is going to be 1000. On the third case, for the same T3, you are calling the multiply with 2.5, so that will come over here, and the answer is going to be 25. So in 2 different colors, we have marked the constructor overloading and method overloading, and this is the answer as we have predicted earlier. The same answer is shown over here. So this is the method overloading, the first type of polymorphism as we learn here, and it is a compilation time polymorphism. Why so? This question is also very frequent. Now the next concept will be passing object as parameters and returning objects from methods. So inside a method, we have already sent the primitive values like integer, double, string, this type of things. But apart from them, we can send different objects also as parameters. And we can return objects from the different methods as well. Okay? So this is basically done by pass by reference or call by reference. When you have learned C, we have heard about call by value and call by reference. Actually, call by value means you are sending the direct values and the values are being copied to the local variables, as we always do for the primitive variables. When you pass the values for the primitive variables, we do so. But when we did the same thing with the pointer, basically that was call by address, because you have the address level calling permission in C. Here, we do not have a permission to access directly the address of a particular location. We don't have that access here in Java. Instead, we have access to the references of the object. And the references, and using the references, we can pass objects from one method to another. We can transfer objects from one method to another as per our requirement. So this is basically one example of pass by reference or call by reference. When you send the references to from one function to another. So let us get an example. Now, this is a slightly bigger problem, and the problem is about time. And the class time is basically replicating a time variable. When we ask about the time, there are three components: hour, minute, and second. All are integers. So here, inside the class, we are having three private values, three private integer variables: hour, minute, and second. Okay? Now, we have constructors inside the time class. See, the first constructor, it is a non-parameterized constructor, and it is initializing the hour, minute, and second into 0. All the hour, minute, and second value will be initialized to 0 if we do not pass any argument through the constructor. So that is the first constructor we have. The second constructor we are having here is a time constructor which is passing three values, three integer values, and they will be initializing the hour, minute, and second instance variables. So two versions we are having here. Now the third version is very important. We haven't heard of it yet. This is called object cloning. When you're trying to clone one object into another, this type of constructor can help. If some of you are having knowledge about C++, so copy constructor was there. So this is not like copy constructor, but the purpose is almost same. Okay. So what it will be doing, from one object, it will be cloning another object. How? You can see we are receiving a reference here. Time t. T is a value which is having the data type of time. Time is a class. You have declared it here. So basically T is reference to the class, and you are receiving this reference here. Now, inside the constructor, what you are doing? Hour equal to T dot hour. Now, if you directly write hour, minute and second inside a constructor, that means whose hour, minute and second it is. Can you tell me whose hour, minute and second it is? Anyone? Inside the method, if you directly write the name of an instance variable, then whose instance variable it is? The caller object. If you have used, obviously you have used some object to call the method. So the caller object instance variables are these. So in this case, this is a constructor. So obviously some object is being constructed during this call. So that object's hour, minute and second is this one. So the object which is being constructed, that object's hour, minute and second is referred by directly writing hour, minute and second. So inside the hour, you are getting the value of this T dot hour. T is hour. So which object's reference you are sending, from that object you will be obtaining the value of the hour and you will be setting it as an hour of this constructed object. Same for minute, same for second. So after the call is over, whichever object reference you have sent to this, the same values will be present inside the constructed object. So that was the motive of this object cloning. So this is a very special type of constructor which is used for the object cloning. Very frequent question. You may get a question like this in your exam as well as in the interview you are going to face. After that, void print time. So this time print method is basically printing the values of hour, minute and second with and in between them colons are going to be printed. So that's it. After that, we are having two different add time methods. Here also again we are facing some method overloading. Okay, because in the first case we are passing a single time reference. On the second case we are passing two time references. Okay, the motive of both the functions are same, to add two pre-given time. Suppose it is given like 5 hours, 15 minutes and 32 seconds. That is to be added with 2 hours, 25 minutes and 40 seconds. So what do? You add the second first. So it is going to be 72, which is higher than 60. So it will be 12 seconds and 1 will be added to the minute part. Sorry. So this is being result. So that result we are expecting from our program. Now, in the first case, what they are doing, every method needs to be called with a caller method. Caller object. So the first input you are going to get from the caller object. The second input you are going to get from the passing object. So one input from here, another input from the caller. These two you are going to add, and after that the result you are going to return. Okay. Now what is actually happening here? When you write directly hour, so that means the caller's hour, caller object's hour. So that caller object's hour is being added with this T dot hour, and the complete value you are going to save inside the caller's hour. So try to remember here, the caller's hour is basically getting updated, and this update is actually done in the permanent level. Okay, so permanently the caller's hour is being updated. So it is basically like A equal to A plus B. You get the caller from here, you get the passing value from here. So A plus B, whatever answer that you are going to set in A. So permanently the caller's value will be changing. The same thing you are doing for minute, same thing you are doing for second. Now if second is greater than equal to 60, so second minus equal to 60 and minute plus plus. And after that, if minute is greater than equal to 60, so minute minus equal to 60 and hour plus plus. So this is very normal thing that you're going to do. And then you are writing return this. Means whatever changes you are doing, that change is basically happening to the caller. Now, if you are trying to write something like at time, say you have one time object like this, T1, another is T2. So T2's values are going to add with T1 and the result is in T1. If you just write this and here instead of time you have void, so no problem will happen. So it will be perfectly fine. But if you want to transfer the value of this addition inside a third variable T3, so in that case this time is being mandatory. The returning value of this time is being mandatory. And that return, basically we want this to happen. So whatever added value you will be getting, that added value you are trying to receive in a third variable. So for that purpose, you are trying to return the added value. And the return of that added value could be done using this return. Okay? And what type of value you are going to return from here? The same time object you are going to return. But which object you are generating after addition? The caller itself you are going to change. So you have to return the caller, and this operator is used here. So return this means you are returning the caller. Whatever value you are going to have inside the caller, that value you are going to pass to the third variable which will be receiving this. Okay. So you are writing return this. After that, you have another option where you can see it is equivalent with A equal to B plus C. So B and C, both you are sending from here, and the value you are going to receive in the third variable A. So it will never change anything in B, it will never change anything in C, but the output will be received in A. The same thing you can do in this way also. How you can do that? So it is your homework. With this, you can perform the same thing. How? You know that. So inside it, you have taken a temporary object, TT. Now, TT.hour is equal to TT1 is the first object, TT2 is the second object. So TT1's hour plus TT2's hour. In the same way, the minute and second also to be found, so that after these three operations, inside the TT, the added values are present. Not like the previous case. In the previous case, you have updated one of the operand. Here, you have taken a fresh object inside which the added values are taken. But this object is a local one. So before returning from this method, you should return the values of this TT to the third variable. Okay? Now after that, you just check the same thing for TT.second and TT.minute. If they are greater than equal to, so obviously you have to perform the operations accordingly. After completion of the addition, now you are returning the TT. So that could be received by your third variable A present in your program. Now inside the program, what we are having? We have T1, T2, T3, T4, T5. 5 objects being created here. The first object has the value 5, 42 and 28 to be passed inside the constructor. So that will obviously hit the second constructor, the parameterized one. The second T2 is also passing 3 values, so that is also using the same constructor. So this is your T1. where you send 5, 42, 28. And this is your T2, where you have 2, 20 and 26. So this is hour, this is minute, this is second. This is hour, this is minute, this is second. T3. T3, through this, you are not sending anything. That means T3 will be created and will be using the first constructor where all the values will be initialized with 0. After that, you have T4. T4 is a clone of T1. You can see you are sending T1 to it. So it will be utilizing the object cloning. So in T4, you can directly copy the values from, sorry, this is not 15, this is 5 only, 42 and 28. And lastly, we have T5 again. T5 is using the non-parameterized constructor, so it will be initializing all the positions with 0. After that, you call T5 equal to T4 dot add time T2. So T4 dot add time T2. Try to remember this thing. Can you replace the second with this or not? If you can or if you cannot, both answers I want. Okay? In a written form. I'll be creating a question for you in the classroom and I want this answer to be submitted before tomorrow. I'll refer this slide. I'll give us a screenshot for this slide. Okay, whatever. So T5 equal to T4 dot add time T2. So that means it will be using the first add time function. And T2 you are sending through this. So this time T, I will be using another ink for representation of the temporary variable. So T is basically a temporary variable here. So where it will be pointing? It is pointing to T2. So T2 is here. So T is also pointing to this. T2 and T are both the same. Because the reference of T2 you are sending to T. So whatever is present in T2, the same value you have in T, that means T is also pointing to the starting location of this object, of the second object. Fine. After that you write hour equal to hour plus T dot hour. What is this hour? Hour means the caller's hour. Who is the caller? T4 is the caller. So T4 is this. This is the caller. So this is having an hour value of 5. That 5 should be added with T dot hour, that means 2. So it is going to be updated as 7. I am writing in the blue, but it is a permanent change. It is to be done in the memory level. After that, minute equal to minute plus T dot minute. So 42 plus 20, it makes 62 here. After that, seconds are also to be added. 54. Okay, so 54, 62 and 7. After that you make the updation. 54 will never change because it is less than 60. Then in the minute you have more than 60. So it will be changed with 2 and 7 will change with 8. So 8 hours, 2 minutes and 54 seconds. That is going to be the answer that is to be present in T4 and T4 is the caller. So when you write return this, that means you are returning T4. To whom? The return value is to be taken by T5. So in T5, what value you have in T4, the exact value are to be copied. Okay. Now after that, if you try to find the value of T4, you are going to get 8 to 54. If you try to find the value of T5, the same values you will get. Okay, so this is the implication of these two lines. After that, you have this line here where you send T1 and T2 to the at time. So that means it will be coming to this function. So TT1 will refer to T1 and TT2 will refer to T2. Obviously, after returning from the first time, this T will be lost. This T reference will be lost. It was the temporary variable stated over here. After that, you are creating another temporary variable inside the second. So that is TT. Using no parameters, so the first constructor is being used. Then you call tt.hour equal to tt1.hour plus tt2.hour. So in tt1.hour you have this 5. In tt2.hour you have this 2. So 5 and 2 will be added, that is 7, and that 7 will come over here. On the second line, the minutes are being added, so 62 will come over here. On the third line, 26 plus 28, 54 will come in TT. Now TT also will be defined with the hour, minute, second, and you will get 8, 2 and 54 as before. And you are returning TT, so that TT will go where here T3 is the receiver. So in T3, the values present in TT are being copied. Like this. Okay? And when you return, this all entities which were local to the second function will be lost. Now if you try to print the value of T3, you are going to get this. Okay. So this is the explanation of call by reference, return by reference, object cloning feature of Java, and many more things. So this is a very crucial example. I'll give you the screenshot of it, a fresh screenshot, and there I will ask you the question. Before tomorrow night, you have to submit the answer, and that is actually your first assignment. Okay, on the next day, we'll start with static keyword. Answer to the roll call. Roll number 1, 2,
2
3.
present, ma'am.
3, ma'am.
Roll number 1 present. Roll number 1
Roll
present.
2.
Roll 2.
Roll 3.
Roll 1
3.
present.
Roll 2
Roll 3
present, ma'am.
present, ma'am.
Roll 1, roll 2, and roll 3. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
4, 5, 6, 7,
Yes, ma'am.
8, 9,